Good afternoon, everyone. Kripa Fashion Conclave welcomes you all for this interactive event. Presenting our guest speaker today. She's young, beautiful, very talented, and a person who holds sustainability to her heart. She's rated by Vogue as one of the top 9 and upcoming international designers. She believes in fusing the traditional with the global. From ushering Hyderabad into the stupendous world of fashion designing, drawing Telugu audience attention to her impressive designs for popular actors in movies, craving a niche through the likes of Lakme Fashion Week, to launching her brand, she has proved her mettle in many different ways. Dear friend, join us in welcoming our guest speaker, Asmita Marwa. A very warm welcome, ma'am. Let's begin with our first question. So our first question is asked by Priyanshi Jain from Graffiti Institute of Fashion Technology, Indore. What fascinated you the most to be a fashion designer, and how did you design your portfolio?
Hi everyone. One second. I'm just adjusting this. Is this okay? Actually, I can't hear you guys too well. Is it possible to talk a little louder? Because I'm not wearing any headphones. You said it was okay.
Yes, ma'am. Is this volume perfect for you?
This is better.
Okay. Yeah. Should I ask you the question again?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So what fascinated you the most to be a fashion designer, and how did you design your portfolio? And this question is asked by Priyanshi Jain from Graffiti Institute of Fashion Technology, Indore.
Priyanshi.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Hi, Priyanshi. To say that it was a very sort of an intuitive kind of a journey for me, because nothing was planned. I'm not a trained designer. I never went to fashion school. I'm completely self-taught. I graduated in psychology, and I've always been interested in design. And, I think I come from a background where art and culture was a huge influence. And I felt that the only way I could express myself was through design. And it was a time where, there were not like so many fashion institutes. And so I decided to go abroad to study, do my fashion designing. And I got into the best colleges in the US, But it so happened that my visa those days was a big problem to the US, so it was rejected. And then I just decided, I said, I mean, I've been doing it for friends. I've been doing it myself. I said, let me just take the plunge and, get into it. And so my journey began. And I guess I always had that sense of style. And I started getting a lot of offers for styling for movies. And then I just, got the courage and the confidence to start my own line. And since then, I guess there's no looking back. And yeah, so my portfolio, I would say, is when I applied for Lakme, that's when I sort of realized that I had to get really professional, because till then I was just doing it, amongst friends, and I was retailing in a few outlets in Hyderabad and in Bombay. But then once I said, okay, now is the time. That this was 2008. I took part in Lakme, and I said, I have to get my act together, and I have to, be really, really focused and committed. And so my portfolio I did was, it had to reflect my sensibility. So that was always, sustainable fashion was always my sensibility. So I work with kalamkari artists, and I did a beautiful collection. I don't know whether you guys have seen it. It's called Gaia and Awakening. It's on my website. Have a look at the show. I believe in timeless fashion, and so all that was reflected in my portfolio, and that's how Lakme invited me, and I showcased, and that's it. Even though I didn't have a fashion degree. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All right, let's move towards our next question. So this is asked by Archasmita Dev from NIFT Hyderabad.
Yeah.
How, how did you learn your craft? What is your advice to students who are learning fashion?
For learning fashion. Okay. What is my craft is the question, right?
Yes, ma'am.
My craft is, I think, very it reflects who I am. I think when you're true to who you are as a person, and you work within those boundaries, and of course, you like experiment, and just be very, very true to who you are, true to your design sensibility, to your design language. That is extremely important. You can't, I can't, I know I you know I'm not great at bridal wear, and everyone's doing it. I know that is not my forte. Of course, I can design if I want to, but this is what excites me. So I think it's very, very important to, know what you want, and, work on your strengths, and, take it from there. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Thank you so much. Let's move on
Thank
to
you.
our next question.
Yeah.
So this question is asked by Divya Shri. She's from
Hmm.
NIFT T, Karur,
Hmm.
Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
So her question is, which is your most memorable opportunity that you got and is still close to your heart?
Okay. So I think my most memorable opportunity would have to be Lakme, because that was like especially in 2008, Lakme was on a different level. Not like, I'm disappointed to say that it's not the same anymore. And it's more about the showstopper, and it's more about, who's walking for you and stuff. So at that point, 2008, I think it was more about design and showcasing, your talent. And when I got that, letter and saying that I was, invited to do a show, oh my God, I can't tell you how excited I was. And I think that I really worked very hard, and I made a beautiful collection, which in fact, so many of my clients keep asking me to go back to, I still do kalamkari, but, bits and pieces here and there. But it's a very laborious process, I have to say. And I was working with artists, and it took a long time. And but yeah, that would be my most memorable fashion moment, I would say.
That was
Yeah.
really great, ma'am. All right, let's move on to our next question.
Yeah.
So, this question is asked by R. Shri Arivanta, Sona College of Technology, Salem, Tamil Nadu.
Mm.
So, ma'am, as we all know, you own sustainability. So,
Mhm.
how do
Thanks.
you think, yeah, so how do you think one can adopt sustainability in fashion?
See, honestly, I think it is very important because, as you know, the fashion industry is one of the most polluting industries when it comes to, polluting the earth because of our dyes, because of the waste we generate, the fabric waste, because of fast fashion. We have like dump yards of, you know, clothes which haven't sold, or, which are cheap quality, and people have just discarded it because, after you wear it twice, it's kaput. So I think, this younger generation has to take it upon themselves, and you have to work towards sustainability when it even, in terms of, how much wastage you generate. Try and, make designs which sort of produce less waste. And I'd like to elaborate on that and say that, make sizes which are more, not just for one type of body form, or but one, a size. Try and make like a medium to large, so that, you have that flexibility. Small to medium, medium to large, and large to XL. Have that flexibility so that you have, pieces which sort of you can like alter, and you can, like, you don't have to just at least for me, that's what has worked, because all my sizes are very fluid. It's like a person who's very slim can wear it, a person who's slightly, got the curves, and, have a full figure, they can wear it. So it's about making designs which would also last, and have great quality, stand the test of time, stand the test of fashion, in the sense like trends. Don't follow trends blindly. Make something which will, which will people can cherish for over a few seasons. you know I love working with zero waste. So whatever pieces I have, like the side pieces, the little scrap pieces, I try and bring them back into my design cycle. I mean, whenever I make, if I have a nice plain canvas of a white shirt, then I'll take like bits and pieces. I'll probably create, you know, a flower, or a bunch of flowers, or kites, or something. I'm adding elements from my waste, but I'm creating something completely new, something, which is unique. So try and bring that back into your, design. So try and generate less waste. And of course, please, try, I would urge students to experiment, and try, become more scientific, and produce, get into the scientific part of design, where, you're working on fabrics which are more sustainable, which, like maybe cotton, which requires less water, or fabrics which are made out of recycled plastic, like there is already, but also which will, break down and degenerate. Not something which will land up in landfills. That's not what we need. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the question. That was good.
Yeah, ma'am, that was a great insight.
Yeah,
Now let's move on to our next question.
yeah.
So our next question is asked by Mohammed Ahia from Mahatma Gandhi Mission Institute, Aurangabad.
Okay.
So she is asking, how do you think fashion industry would work after this COVID-19 crisis?
You know, I honestly, this has all taught us a huge lesson that we need to pause, we need to sort of slow down, and we just can't just keep producing stock and, just indiscriminately having sales just because you want to get rid of your stock. I mean, try and make clothes which will last, something which people can cherish, something people can hold on to, something, something special, because it's, you know, everything can be taken away in a flash, you realize that. And there's so many, I had to downsize, I had to, uh, unfortunately, because mine is a very small setup, I have made this name for myself without really expanding and going into a, a large segment. I'm doing sustainable fashion, but because I'm able to handle that little workshop by myself, I'm able to produce and generate very little waste. And so it's, try and think holistic, try and be, you know, and I think there is a future ahead. This has taught everyone a huge, huge lesson that, we don't need that many clothes. We were not, no one was shopping for months together. And we were all like discovering all our old clothes, you're mixing and matching. And, we don't need that many clothes. Just cherish what you have and make something special. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Pleasure.
Yeah, let's move on to our next question.
Okay.
So our next question is asked by Jean Parodia. So from Universal Institute of Design, Surat. So her question
Okay.
is, who is your idol and what inspires you the most?
Who is my idol? I don't know whether I really have an idol. I admire a lot of people. I admire, a few designers who, like Alexander McQueen. I just admire his work and even the legacy he's left behind. And whoever is managing Alexander McQueen now is doing a fantastic job because they've stuck to that design philosophy. They are evolving, yet they've kept the, brand alive and relevant. And that's very important, I think. And yeah, so and the second part of the question was, sorry.
And what inspires you the most?
Okay. Travel. Travel inspires me beyond anything else because I mean, you talk about travel, my eyes sort of light up. And I think if you are aware of my work, I bring in a lot of my travel back and I design and I make, I pick up textiles, I pick up old fabrics, I pick up embroideries, and I bring them back from all my travels. And, whatever has sort of struck a chord, and I bring it back into my design, and that's how I've evolved, and that's how the brand has grown. So as my personality has evolved because of travel, my whole outlook has evolved because of travel, my sensibility, everything. I think travel is an eye opener, and I think everyone should, even if you're traveling via the internet, you know? Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Let's move
Pleasure.
on to our next question.
Yeah.
So this question is asked by Tanisha Dodamani from
Yeah.
INIFT Hubli. So
Yeah.
she's asking you, what all challenges did you face in your career
Hmm.
and how did you overcome all your hurdles?
Okay. So there were a lot of challenges because, I wasn't a trained designer. So everything I did was, I learned through my mistakes. I had that, I always had that confidence, but I had to work on myself. I had to be very observant. I had to read a lot. I had to sort of, but the talent, I guess, is sort of something which is God given. It's like an artist. I honestly, I consider myself an artist more than anything else, because I feel everything I create is like art. See, in fact, this jacket I'm wearing is made out of bits and pieces of scrap from my workshop, like various pieces of red fabric. I've just cut it up and I've layered it and I textured it, and that's the kind of stuff I make. So, yeah. So this is what it is. Design is all about invention and being creative, and so the challenges, of course, there were, because like I said, I wasn't a trained designer. So people are always very sort of skeptical, but then I say Rohit Bal is not from a fashion institute, or Anamika Khanna is not from a fashion institute. So it's what you make of your I have a very, very distinctive design language. I'm not copying anyone. I have my own design language, and that is what is important. So I think those the challenges of people just doubting your skills, and but I think everyone has sort of accepted that you don't need to be trained, yeah, to make it. You just need to be focused and dedicated. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let's move on to our next question.
Yeah.
Okay. So our next question is asked by Jessica Rajak from DSIFD Raipur. So she is asking, if not fashion, then what career you would have chosen?
Hi, that's a lovely question because honestly, I think I would have been a chef. If I wasn't a designer, I would have been a chef. I love to cook. That excites me as much as design. And I find a lot of similarities between, creative cooking and my design, because it's all about adding elements and being experimental, and I can't follow recipes, so I'm a very intuitive cook, like I'm a very intuitive designer. So that's me as a person. So yeah, so it's yeah, I would have definitely probably been a chef. Yes.
That's a great choice, though, ma'am. Okay, now let's move on to our next question.
Yeah.
So this question is asked by Riya Singh from INIFT Vashi, Mumbai.
Yeah.
So what are the very basics of starting your own label?
Actually, it's a lot of work. It's you first need to have your product has to be, you have to be very clear about what you want to take out into the market. Is there a need for it? Is it better than some my contemporaries? You have to have that very, very clearly researched. And so it's a process. It's not something you can do overnight. So I would suggest, as students, work before you want to jump into this, because it's not easy to sustain yourself. It's a tough business there, out there. But don't give up, because I think knowledge is power. So I urge everyone to, you work for a few years, get the confidence, make contacts, see how the whole process works. Don't be in a rush to launch a label. Don't rush. uh, so just be very, very observant and see what works for you, and start creating. Make your sketches, of course, work on the side, you know gain knowledge from whoever you're working with. And yeah, do your internships, work for designers, learn, and then venture out and launch your label. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really
Pleasure.
informative. Yeah. Let's
Pleasure.
move on to our next question.
Hmm.
So this question is asked by Madhavi Shindri from Candice Academy, Nagpur.
Yeah.
Should Indian designers make a conscious effort to represent India globally through their
I
collection,
can't
and
hear you,
what should they
sorry.
focus on? Okay, should Indian designers make a
Hmm.
conscious effort to represent India globally through their collection, and what should they focus on?
Actually, that's a great question. But, you know, like, there are very, very few designers who've actually been able to sustain themselves internationally as a label. There's Manish Arora, there is Rahul Mishra, and am I forgetting, who are like constantly taking part in Paris Fashion Week and stuff like that. But they have got investments, I think, from venture capitalists, and it's a very, very costly affair. So showing abroad, showing in international fashion weeks takes a lot of money. So you can do like one season, one, if you're invited, or 1 or 2 seasons. But is that enough? You need to have that, constantly you need to show a few seasons to actually be relevant there, and people start talking about you, and stores start stalking you. So it's a question of a lot of money. So I don't doubt the talent India has. We have a lot of talent. But and Indian fashion is huge. I mean, the tunic, everyone wears a tunic now, you know so, or a kurta. So these are things which have come, pajamas, palazzos, that kind of a structure has come from India. So, and our embroideries are huge, as I mean, we export so much. So, but I think the main thing is finance, you know. So that is the main, we don't have enough we designers don't have enough, backing from venture capitalists to, take our brand forward in the West. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to ask you, what is the most important skills required for a designer?
Skills
Yes, ma'am, skills.
for a designer. I think the most important skills are, the ability to express what is in your mind and your heart, and bring it out and make something out of it which is relevant. You know, of course, as a designer, you have the freedom to create something absolutely outrageous or bizarre, but you should also be able to sell it. So it's about a balance, you know, striking a balance somewhere. And yeah, so I think that skill is very important, to be able to be creative as well as be able to sell it. Yeah.
Okay. And ma'am, what keeps you motivated on daily basis at this stage of your career?
You know, I'm so excited to go to my workshop even today. You know, it's like, you know, when I have an appointment at the studio, it's only by appointment I see my clients. And it still excites me just to show people my work, and, you know, to make them aware of the brand, or, you know, if I make a sale, it's still very, very exciting. The whole process of design is very exciting for me. So I'm constantly motivated, and I'm thinking of, you know, how else I can. What motivates me, yes, is a lot of the fabric waste. That motivates me, because I say, okay, how can I be more creative? How can I use this in a better way without it looking like shabby? It has to look like luxury. It has to be fabulous. It has to be haute couture. You know, these are what I want for, you know, pieces of waste fabric, which would actually go into garbage. You know, that motivates me. I'm most excited when I'm working with scrap. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am, that was really great.
Hmm.
So now let's move on to our last question. So, what are your future endeavor in fashion industry? And this question is asked by Shruti Saxena, FDDI from Chandigarh.
Okay. My future endeavors would be to take part in more global sustainable fashion week globally, abroad. But as of now, I think my label cannot afford it, because we've been playing salaries, and we've taken a setback. We haven't been able to have too many sales. We haven't been able to sell too much. Business is just picking up, but I want to work on more photo shoots, and have a, a fashion show with a completely you know, my zero waste luxury line. And I want to take it abroad. I want to show it to students. I want to give lectures. I want to show that there is so much potential out there. If you start thinking out of the box, and if you are creative, there's no limit to it. You know, we can create a beautiful design language. Yeah.
That's great, ma'am. So let's move on to our common question round.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. So I would like to ask you which Indian politician you would like to dress and which Indian movie actor you would like to dress.
Okay. Indian politician, I think I'd love to dress Smriti Irani. She's such a fiery, well-spoken, dynamic woman. She's a strong woman, and making her mark and voice heard in a man's world. And yeah, that would be lovely to dress her. And I think Deepika Padukone, because she's absolutely stunning and gorgeous and talented, and she has a, you know, a very, very, you know, she expresses herself beautifully. And yeah, I would love to dress these women.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us such a wonderful insight on various topics. And
I'm
I'm
glad.
sure, yeah,
I'm
ma'am.
glad.
And
It
I'm
was wonderful
sure,
to interact. I love speaking to students, because I feel that, you know, when I was growing up, there was not too much, there was no one mentoring me, or, you know, who was guiding me. There's so much you students have today. There's so many advantages you have. You have like at a press of a button, you have the world at your, you know, right in front of you. But
Yes.
when I was growing up, I had to learn everything, I had to put in a lot more effort. So, yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, I'm sure that each and every one of us has benefited a lot from your answers, and this will
I'm
really
glad.
help our student career. Yes, ma'am.
I'm very glad. I wish all the students the very best. Stay motivated, stay, focused, and there's no looking back. Honestly, just believe in yourself, think with your heart, and be true to who you are. Don't just think of the commercials, but do something which makes you happy. Work will never seem like work then. You'll enjoy every day. Yeah. God bless.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, thank you everyone for your presence and making this event a successful one. Kripa Fashion Conclave is conducting fashion certificate workshops this entire month. Our next 2 week workshops, Understanding Working for an International Brand, is on 19 December, that is tomorrow, and How to Start Your Own Label or Business is on 27 December. For attending these workshops, you can enroll on our Instagram and Facebook page, that is Kripa Fashion Conclave. Till next time, bye and stay safe.
Hello.